Hello, welcome to the latest Wind in the Willows episode review. This week it is Masterchef. Great episode from Series 3, and this one will round off autumn. Funny this one because it feels a little bit like a winter episode, or more like the transition from autumn to winter, so it seemed like the best week to put it in. Before we start, I must just mention my recent Manchester visit. Been to Manchester quite a few times now over the last couple of months, but recently got back from the fantastic Manchester Animation Festival. Absolutely brilliant. Saw many familiar faces, people I'd worked with before, some new faces, some of my ex-students, other people in education, and it was just fantastic. So many inspiring films, a lot of talent out there, a lot of great projects happening. And it also coincided with the opening of the new Cosgrove Hall exhibition that I had a bit of a hand in helping out, and it's absolutely fantastic. If you can get up there to the waterside in Sale, it runs till early January. I think, is it the 4th of January or 6th of January, something like that. But do go and see it. It's absolutely brilliant. They've got original puppets, notably from Wind in the Willows. Of course, they've got a few of the key characters. And there's some Danger Mouse cells, Duckula cells, little robots. A couple of puppets from that. Noddy's Ark. It's just fantastic. Go and see it. It's absolutely wonderful. So well done to everyone at the waterside on that. And a few other projects kind of bubbling away. Quite exciting ones. I don't want to reveal yet, but kind of related to this. So there's lots going on. So. Yes, the nostalgia is as strong as ever. So, and I'll be revealing details for things as soon as I can. But so let's dive into this then. Masterchef. Without any more ado, let's press play right now. There we go. So this one, like I say, is from Series 3, directed by Jackie Cockle. So it's another classic one with Paul Berry and Sue Pugh animating. I love this one. It's not one I remember from early childhood, but I think I first saw it on Channel 5 in my teen years. But it's a classic in that it's so funny, so well animated. Great idea. I was always intrigued by this one because I remember seeing a clip of it in the Oh Mr. Toad opening titles. So if you remember in that opening, it's all little snippets from various episodes from The Wind in the Willows, and one of which was Toad taking something out of the oven, completely burnt. There we go, look at that beautiful opening. It still suggests it's autumn, doesn't it? But as the narrator says, as he says here, it feels like winter is here. There we go. So, there we go, don't know if you heard that, but yeah, so the odd wrinkled leaf still around, but trying to pretend that winter was not all but here. So, but we've got, like I say, very autumnal colours there in the opening there, so it just feels the most appropriate to end autumn with this one. So, lovely opening, look at that, very bleak. It looks very much like what the weather looks like now, very misty, very grey, cold. Bare branches you can see, and I love this because we see all of the great outdoors, quite most dismal it will probably ever look, quite a contrast to last week when we looked at that beautiful sunset on the riverbank from Unlikely Allies, which incidentally is a slightly later episode, but then of course we go into the lovely coziness of Ratty's home. As always, we see the teacups laid out on the table. I quite like this because unusually we see Ratty sort of fiddling about with the piano while they're all talking. Of course, we've seen him do that with in The Great Steamer and The Producer's Lot and so on, but it's nice to see this while Toad's going on about something or other. Talking about his latest visit to London. So he's already mixing up and painting with the sculptures. And look at this, fantastic. comedy timing here. That's when he realised, yes, Rembrandt is a painter. Badger's right, as he always is. Now it's I think it's very intelligent humour in this, because the other characters are always kind of a step ahead of Toad, as they always are. But referring to things he's already said, he's already said he was never out of them. And then he talks about something else he was doing, and Ratty sarcastically says, "You did, Toad, never out of them." Of course, hinting that, how could he be never out of them if he was doing the other thing? And I just love it. It's just, but I love the animation. Look at that. That interaction with the curtain there, beautifully done. Requires very fine control when you're animating fabric like that, and of course, aside from the costumes alone, you're going to need wires in a curtain like that to be able to manipulate it properly, not just let it hang. So that's all, everyone laughing at Badger's joke. So Badger's being sarcastic now, so they're all... Toad's getting a bit irritated now. I understand how Toad feels though, because I'm just making fun of him, and at least he's shown enthusiasm, isn't he? He's excited about the great outdoors, going to London. There we go, that's when he realises I never out it, and then he realises he's constantly saying that. So this is where Toad refers to Oberon again. Now, one or two of you mentioned that Oberon is mentioned in quite a bit in the scripts that I've put up, but that dialogue's often cut. So if they hadn't cut all that, Oberon would have been a much bigger character than he is, and he probably would have popped up a few more times. But it's nice there's that continuity that he's mentioned across quite a few episodes. Look at that, still some remains of the cream cake in his mouth there, his lip. See, Toad's not on the same wavelength with the others, because Ratty said they just laughed a lot, and Badger's sighs thinking, yes, they're laughing, because Toad, of course, is such an idiot. Excuse me, while I join our friends with a cup of tea. Now, this again is very clever humour, because... So, Toad's saying, of course, gourmet, of course we know it's gourmet, as Badger corrects him. It's almost as if Toad's heard it said like that, but you've checked the spelling. Like, oh no, it's La Française. That's what you say it. And that's a bit funny because escargots, Toad says, and then Mole says escargots, and Toad says very nicely said. So it's almost as if he's not even listening properly. It's lovely animation there of him just like his teeth. He's a bit sick from eating snails. He realised what they were. You learn a bit of French, can't you, from this episode? And this makes me laugh now. So reference... Gourmet and Toad correct Ratty this time. Very funny. So you got Badger correcting Toad and Toad correcting Ratty. So there's no continuity with Toad. He's just kind of like he never gets it. Never gets it right. When Ratty sides with Toad, going along with Gourmet, Toad throws it back in his face. I love that. Very clever script, this one, I think. Of course, this is series 3, so it's matured a lot, and it's so much wittier and sharper than if you think of some of those series 1 episodes. But that's often the case with any series, So we've gone for the coziness of Ratty's home to somewhere even more cosy. So Toad's bedroom, lovely warm colouring there, and he's writing his menu out. I love the detail of the dipping into the ink. Beautiful, that. Right, he's not leaning on anything, he's just got a flimsy bit of paper. It's a shame we're not seeing the writing appear to the pale, did we then? It almost looked like we did them. There's just a bit there where we weren't seeing really any squiggles. Oh yeah, we can see it there. They do it. So a nice little touch that. Now this is a great scene because I've never heard Badger ever laugh as much as he is about to here. And this is where it's good directing that we go to a new location. So now at Mole's house, of course. To go back to Ratty's would have been ridiculous. Too much. The series often does that. You know, we circulate around the characters' homes. And then what I've noticed with these later episodes is whoever home it is, they have a certain authority. Ratty felt like he had that authority. He's on the piano, he's getting on with his own thing in his own home. And in Mole's house, he's got a certain presence here. It just comes across. Well, Ratty and Mole don't know what he's laughing at. Michael Horden said he had a quiet time of his life here, didn't he? Laughing, even wetting the eyes on the puppet. The Spocket wee. That's very good. I mean, you could argue now that this seems like this goes on way too long, but I like it.
My goodness me, I do hope so. I don't fancy either of the alternatives,
So they're all in on the joke now.
Mine goes on. Crown of lamb with asparagus, new potatoes, a mange.
Sounds delicious though, the rest of it.
Apricot souffle,
One,
bananas
two,
in
and so
jelly,
on.
candied
Down that lovely detail, Mole kind of go,
and frommer.
really nice.
Goodness gracious me.
Indeed, yes. There's only one way to describe a magnificent menu like that. The Toad's first great dinner party.
What's that, Badger?
Over ambitious.
Over ambitious, of course. So when you listen to all of that, you think, how on earth can Toad manage all of that? We know it's going to go on. Of course, we know by now that everything always does go on with Toad. Now I love this lovely establishing shot of the kitchen. Lovely camera move, get a real sense of the depth, and we rarely get to take in the whole set like that. We can actually just see the edge of the set there, bottom left-hand corner. So they're really maximising what they could fit into the frame there. And occasionally we do get a little reprise of the song, a hero song from the book. So, some nice new verses here. Nice touch, because we don't have many songs. Well, we don't have any songs in Series 3, apart from little snippets like this. And, this makes me laugh. He's actually read for. So you can already tell from the way he's animated, you know, what he's doing. He's such an idiot, isn't he? And leaving his finger in the hot liquid. I love those. The sound of those eggs and the way they look is so realistic, so believable. Chucking shells all over the place. And whatever they use for this, I'd love to find out what it was for mixing these egg whites. Couldn't quite see him separating the yolks though, but he's managed to do it. I think he's just got egg whites there, whisking them up. And then we've got steam effects, would have been put on glass, of course. Look at that. It's very the foam-like look to it. Beautiful. I don't know what they would have used for that.
Burning. Hardly likely, is it, then? The lamb!
There we go. So this is the shot I remember.
Stupid oven!
Lifting that out the oven from the Oh Mr. Toad titles. So ever since I saw that, I thought I really wanted to see that episode. That's a great piece of wall there. Now this is Toad at his stupidest, isn't it? The fact that he doesn't realise that it's a different recipe now.
I wonder if they'll notice. I could always scrape the black bits off, I suppose. Yes, yes. Besides, it'll have more flavour that way.
Now I know like how David Jason calls it. It's an apricot souffle and he calls it something different
What
here.
do I do with these wretched egg whites?
Well, not yet. Sorry, shortly. He calls it an apricot souffle. I don't know if that was David Jason ad-libbing. But look at the animation, it's so crisp, isn't it? It's so beautifully pose to pose and very clear.
Spread on a piece of flannel. I've got a piece of flannel. Why don't
There's always that time where he thinks, and that's what I admire about Paul Berry's animation. He's always got, like, when you get to him pose, and there's a little gesture that shows he's thinking, and then he acts. And that's what's really special about his animation. Not that the other animators don't manage that, but he just does it so beautifully. We understand every thought that Toad has, every gesture in his eyes and in those pauses. Just lovely. And times like that where he has to react very quickly to the draft there. Isn't that nice? The egg yolk, the shells, just a few of them just naturally reacted to the wind as well. So it's back to the actual recipe now, but it's disastrous, isn't it? I wouldn't want to eat it. I'm spreading it on a piece of flannel, I mean. Or dishcloth, rather. You improvise. So we go from there to the final scene, and we can already see he's broken his leg or badly sprained it. Now the animation of the potatoes reacting to the fork there is very nice.
So are we having the cocky later?
No, Mo, we are not. I cooked them for hours and those cockle shells stayed as hard as rocks.
Toad! They're supposed to.
Supposed to?
They're just
Used to. Now we see this fairly often with all the friends gathered around having a kind of a dinner party in their best dinner jackets. So these pop up quite a bit, and it's always got a lovely look to it, and they control the lighting pretty well where if you're not careful it could be very much in the shadows, of course, with those dark suits and very low lighting, very warm, cosy lighting. Now I think there's a behind the scenes photo somewhere of this episode, of this scene actually, where you can see Paul Berry with his famous red hair. He's always known for that wacky red hair. Alongside Sue Pugh, they were very good friends and obviously worked extremely well together. Although I have heard that the reason some of those, their animation was so beautifully refined and crisp is because they took their time, animated much of it on single frames, and ended up doing overtime, and they're allowed to do overtime. And that's why often their episodes stand out quality-wise. And more than one person has said that to me, so it seems to be true. But they cared about it. They cared about getting it as good as they could.
Those potatoes. Well, perhaps the souffle mold will be awful. It's supposed to
I love this now. What comes up here is
It'll be like old leather. It'll be
explode. You just hear Toad whining, and I love how you hear that before you see it. And there's almost like we hark back to this with the later episode Toad's Harvest in Series 4, which I've already reviewed. But you hear things in the kitchen and eventually Toad appears. I just like that, hearing things before you see them. Look at that, kind of limping away. Dear me. And then we get another lovely establishing shot of all the food that the others happen to have with them. Not that they plan to use it all, but they just, you know, happen to have it with them.
Perhaps it could have done with a little more sherry.
Toad, how could you? After all that...
What I don't understand is how you came to have the picnic basket
As
with
Dave says, how do you come to have it with you? And they're all trying to desperately think of an excuse.
But the weather didn't look too promising. Yeah, no, so we didn't. And we still have the basket.
lunch by the river this
I
time.
like to see Badger joining in like that. It's quite funny.
No, I thought your salad bowl was quite excellent.
No, I mean,
And the boiled potato.
So, like I say, yeah, this,
yes, but
As for rats,
Jackie Coppell was, of course, a great director, but I think Paul and Sue were such a great team in that they worked so much of it out together. I mean, Jackie would guide them, obviously, as a director would, but Paul and Sue really worked out the choreography between themselves. They had a couple of characters each. And I found out recently that Paul didn't always just do Toad. When they worked together, Sue would do Toad often as well. And there's a few scenes that have been revealed to me at, in Manchester recently, actually, that I always thought were Paul's, and they're in fact Sue's. And the animation is just as superb, just as crisp. They all understood Toad. So there are, you know, we've got Barry, of course, who's the original Toad, Paul Berry, but so many other animators, Sue Pugh, Stuart Sutcliffe later on, Lloyd Price, you know, who really understood Toad as well. And yes, there are differences between them, and there are one or two other animators who didn't quite grasp Toad so well, but all in all, he is the same Toad, isn't he? So there we go, MasterChef, and a masterful episode it is. Look forward to reading any comments you might have on that. It was released on the double box set. It came out in I think the late 80s, behind me somewhere. Yeah, I love it. I really love the animation of that one. That's one that stands out for a good script, witty, clever. Yes, it's another typical Toad episode with things going wrong, another craze and so on, but beautifully done and very sharp, and perfect marriage of a sharp script, sharp animation. And there's a lot of episodes like that, but that's certainly one of them. So it stands out for me, that one. So there we go. We have got through autumn, and we've just got winter to go. I can't believe we're already essentially 3/4 of the way through the series. Thanks for sticking with me. Thankfully I haven't missed one yet. I know there's been a few late here and there, but I'm doing my best to stick with some days and get them uploaded in time each week. So next week, as we head into winter, I'll spin the camera around, but it's Champion of the Green Baize. Perfect one for that time where we've just got into winter. Starts with a very nice, warm, cosy opening, and it's also from Series 3. Not a great one. It's always a great idea for an episode of Toad getting into billiards and snooker. So yeah, look forward to reviewing that next week. So all the best. Make the most of the last of the, well, it's not warm anymore, is it? Coldish weather. I guess we've got colder weather to come. So wrap up warm, grab a nice cup of tea and enjoy watching Wind in the Willows, whatever you choose. And I shall see you next week for Champion of the Green Baize. Cheers then, and take care.